Bro, thank you for choosing this video. Welcome back to this channel, a haven for Chelsea news updates. So find a comfortable seat and grab a drink, because this time I'm presenting 10 stories about Chelsea off the pitch that you probably didn't know. I hope to reach 300 likes. By liking this video, I'm even more motivated to provide as much news as possible and as interesting as possible for you. And finally, please comment where you're from. I'd love to know which countries are watching this video.
Chelsea's next match offers a great opportunity to advance further in the FA Cup, and frankly, it feels like a truly favorable draw for the Blues. In the quarterfinals, Chelsea will face Port Vale, a team currently stranded at the bottom of League One, the third tier of English football. In terms of level, this is like a duel between the 6th place team and the 68th place team in the English football pyramid. Kickoff is scheduled for Saturday, April 4th at 5:15 p.m. local time at St. Mary's Stadium, Southampton. On paper, Chelsea clearly has the edge, but this match won't be as easy as it seems. The West London squad is still plagued by a lengthy injury list. Names like Reece James, Benoit Badiashile, Jamie Gittins, Philip Jorgensen, Trevoh Chalobah, and Levi Colwill are still in the spotlight ahead of this crucial match. Despite this, Chelsea are confident after seeing off Wrexham, Hull City, and Charlton in impressive fashion. The question now is this really a smooth road to the semi-finals? Or is it a potentially embarrassing trap? Chelsea may have been given an ideal opponent in the FA Cup quarter-final, but news about the squad's condition has been mixed. Facing Port Vale, currently bottom of League One, the Blues are clear favourites. On paper, this should be a comfortable match. However, as usual this season, Chelsea remain plagued by an injury list that hasn't fully subsided. The most obvious news comes from Reece James. The captain is still out with a hamstring problem, and while his condition is said to be being monitored, Liam Rosenior will almost certainly not be risked in a match like this. Benoit Badiashile has brought some fresh legs after being sidelined with illness, and is reportedly in line for a return. Meanwhile, Jamie Gittins and Philip Jorgensen are edging closer to comebacks, but the match against Port Vale seems to come a little too soon for both of them. Their realistic target is reportedly the big clash against Manchester City. Meanwhile, Trevoh Chalobah remains sidelined until May. Levi Colwill is likely out until the end of the season, and Mykhailo Mudryk remains suspended indefinitely. So, despite the seemingly light opponents, Chelsea still come with a squad that isn't fully formed. The question now is, will this be a quiet night for the Blues, or will it be a test that reveals just how fragile their current squad depth is? Chelsea finally received a breath of fresh air from the treatment room. Levi Colwill was seen back training with his teammates at Cobham, a development that is certainly encouraging for the Blues. The 23-year-old defender had been sidelined for the entire season after suffering a serious ACL injury on the first day of preseason in August. Since then, Chelsea have been missing a key cornerstone of their defense, and Colwill's absence has been keenly felt. Last season, Colwill was vital in Chelsea's run to a top-4 finish, the Conference League title, and the Club World Cup. He even scored the winning goal against Nottingham Forest that propelled the Blues back into the Champions League. So it's no surprise that his return to training has sparked great optimism. Liam Rosenior himself acknowledged that Colwill is continuing to achieve his required recovery targets, although the club remains cautious about ensuring his comeback is timely. Without Colwill, Chelsea's defense looks far more fragile. Under Rosenior, they have kept just 3 clean sheets in 11 league games, and defensive stability continues to be a problem. Therefore, this news is more than just a medical update. It could be the beginning of a major change. In fact, if his recovery continues smoothly, Colwill's chances of making the England squad for the 2026 World Cup could also be reopened. The question now is, will Colwill's return come in time to save Chelsea's season? Chelsea's lineup against Port Vale could surprise fans. Reportedly, Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez might not start, as Liam Rosenior wants to rotate the team completely to maintain fitness after a string of poor results. Add to that the absence of many players, including Reece James, Chalobah, and Jorgensen, making this lineup feel like a real emergency. But it's still interesting to discuss. Goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, who will still play due to Jorgensen's groin injury. Right back Josh Achiampong, chosen due to James's absence and his youthful energy. Centre back Tosin Adarabioyo, who excels in aerial duels and provides a calming presence at the back. Centre back Benoit Badiashile, who returns after illness and can add physical strength. Left back Jorel Hato, who is likely to start due to his flexibility and strength in build-up play. Defensive midfielder Romeo Lavia, who could start as Caicedo is likely to be rested. Defensive midfielder Dario Asugo, a rotation option who provides power and aggression. Right wing Pedro Neto, still trusted because of his speed and the ability to break down defenses. Attacking midfielder Estevão Willian could be a surprise starter in the number 10 position when Palmer and Enzo are benched. Left wing Alejandro Garnacho, deployed because of his directness, bravery in duels, and ability to break deadlocks. Striker Liam Delap, favored because Pedro is likely to be rested. If this lineup does go, Chelsea is clearly taking a big risk. But it's precisely in games like this that the reserve players can be the heroes. Do you think this rotation is smart, or is it too dangerous for Chelsea? Leave your predictions in the comments. Chelsea returned to Cobham with renewed energy after the international break, as preparations for the crucial FA Cup clash began to accelerate. Liam Rosenior finally saw the majority of his squad back at the training ground, a highly anticipated moment, after many players had been away on international duty. Several key players, including Moises Caicedo, Malo Gusto, Jorel Hato, Pedro Neto, and Mamadou Sarr, had just completed their international duties. They were now back in West London and immediately joined up with their teammates who had remained at Cobham during the FIFA break. The training atmosphere was lively, as almost all of Chelsea's key players were finally back together ahead of this weekend's crucial match. Preparation time was short. After an intense training session on Thursday, Chelsea only had one additional session before Saturday's match. But the team's focus was clear. The FA Cup quarter-final against Port Vale at Stamford Bridge was no ordinary match. It was a huge opportunity to keep their trophy dreams alive this season. For Chelsea, the FA Cup now feels even more important amidst the pressure of a season full of silverware. With league competition often not always smooth sailing, the domestic cup campaign can be the quickest route to a morale-boosting campaign. That's why this training session was held at a high tempo, full of concentration, and it was clear the players were eager to ensure they were both physically and mentally prepared. The atmosphere at Cobham also displayed an interesting element: a renewed sense of togetherness after the players returned from all over the world. The smiles, laughter, and hard work on the training pitch were positive signs that the squad still possesses a strong spirit to fight together. However, the challenge should not be underestimated. Although Port Vale is from League One, knockout matches always hold the potential for surprises. Chelsea certainly doesn't want to repeat past mistakes by underestimating opponents who are below them in quality. All eyes are now on Stamford Bridge this weekend. With a semi-final spot and the chance to play at Wembley as prizes, Chelsea's motivation is clear. The question now is simple: will this squad reunion at Cobham be the start of new momentum for the Blues, or just another test in a stressful season? Chelsea went into the match against Port Vale with one very clear mission: to win, without drama, without surprises, and without embarrassing themselves in front of the Stamford Bridge crowd. On paper, this should have been a very easy match. Chelsea, a Premier League giant, would face a Port Vale languishing in the bottom half of League One, but that's precisely where the danger lies. The FA Cup is always full of crazy stories, and the Blues know all too well that one bad night can turn into a disaster that will be remembered for a long time. The pressure on Liam Rosenior was now immense. Chelsea came into this match after 4 consecutive defeats before the international break, a European exit, and a league performance that continued to raise questions. The situation was further complicated by the fact that several key players were being linked with potential summer departures. So for Chelsea, this match was more than just a place in the FA Cup quarterfinals. It was a match that could save the dressing room, save the team's morale, and even save their season altogether. Because frankly, amidst the chaos, the FA Cup now felt like the only realistic path to silverware. Port Vale, on the other hand, came into this match with nothing to lose. They were struggling in League One and even threatened with relegation, but instead managed to create a remarkable story by reaching the top 8. They eliminated Sunderland in the previous round and now come to Stamford Bridge with a dangerous underdog mentality. Teams like this are often fearless. They defend deep, rely on set pieces, wait for the moment, the mistake, the panic, and that's the area that has hurt Chelsea several times this season. Chelsea itself is still plagued by fitness and injury concerns, particularly in defense. Players like Trevoh Chalobah, Reece James, Levi Colwill, and Philip Jorgensen are reportedly not in optimal condition, while Jamie Gittins is said to be nearing a comeback but not yet fully ready. Therefore, Rossinier will likely rotate players, especially those who have just returned from international duty. But one thing is certain, he will still need to field a sufficient number of first-team players to ensure this match doesn't become a trap. In terms of quality, Chelsea are clearly far superior. They have the squad depth, experience, and individual caliber that should be enough to see the game through from the start. But if they let their guard down, play slowly, or fail to capitalize on their first-half chances, the pressure could turn into anxiety. And when Stamford Bridge starts to tense, an opponent like Port Vale can grow in confidence. Many predictions point to a Chelsea victory, even with a comfortable scoreline. But what's more important isn't just the final result, but how they win. Can Chelsea be dominant, mature, and show they still have character? Or will they again complicate a simple match due to mental wounds that haven't fully healed? One thing's for sure, Chelsea must qualify. Not only because they're stronger, but because this season has already been too chaotic for one more nightmare. The question now is, will the Blues use Port Vale as the start of a comeback? Or will they open the door to one of the most embarrassing upsets in FA Cup history?